The gunshot echoed through the dark alley, and Marcus Thompson felt his knees hit the wet pavement. Blood spread across his shirt like spilled paint. Above him stood Jin-Woo Park, the most feared Mafia boss in all of Los Angeles, his silver pistol still smoking. Jin-Woo's cold eyes showed no emotion, no mercy. This was just another night, another problem solved with a bullet. But then, something happened that would change everything. A baby's cry pierced through the silence. Jin-Woo froze. His finger was still on the trigger, ready to finish the job, but that sound made his hand shake for the first time in 20 years. The cry came again, louder this time, desperate and afraid. It was coming from inside the broken-down car parked just 10 feet away. Marcus, bleeding on the ground, looked up at the Korean man with terror and hope mixed in his eyes. "Please," he whispered, his voice weak. "My daughter, she's only 6 months old. She's in the car. Please don't hurt her." Jin-Woo's men stood behind him, waiting for orders. They had seen their boss kill dozens of people without blinking. They expected him to walk away, to leave both father and baby to whatever fate awaited them in this dark, forgotten corner of the city. But Jin-Woo didn't move. That cry, it reminded him of something he had buried deep inside his heart many years ago. Where are you watching from? Drop your country in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to see what happens next. Let's go back to the beginning. 3 days before that terrible night in the alley, Marcus Thompson was a good man living in a bad situation. He was 28 years old, tall and strong, with kind eyes that always seemed tired. He worked 2 jobs, one washing dishes at a Chinese restaurant during the day, and another cleaning office buildings at night. His wife, Angela, had died 6 months ago while giving birth to their baby girl, Zara. Marcus lived in a tiny apartment in South Los Angeles with his baby daughter and his mother, Gloria. The apartment had peeling paint on the walls and windows that rattled when trucks drove by. But Marcus kept as clean as he could. He loved his daughter more than anything in the world. Every morning, Marcus would wake up at 5 o'clock. He would heat up a bottle of milk for baby Zara, change her diaper, and hold her close while she drank. These quiet moments were his favorite time of the day. "Good morning, princess," Marcus would whisper to her. "Daddy loves you so much. I'm going to give you a better life. I promise." But promises are easier to make than to keep. Marcus owed money to a lot of people. When Angela was sick during her pregnancy, he had borrowed money from anyone who would lend it to him. But Angela died anyway, and now Marcus was drowning in debt. The worst debt was a $5,000 he owed to a man named Rico Martinez. Rico was a gang leader who controlled several blocks in South L.A. He was not a patient man. 3 days before that night in the alley, Rico came to Marcus's apartment. It was a Tuesday afternoon. Baby Zara was sleeping in her crib, and Gloria had gone to the grocery store. Bang, bang, bang. Someone pounded on the door so hard that the whole wall shook. Through the peephole, Marcus could see Rico standing there with 2 other men. Marcus opened the door slowly. "Rico," Marcus said, trying to keep his voice steady. "I told you I'd have your money by Friday. I just need 2 more days." Rico pushed past Marcus into the small apartment. He was short and muscular, with tattoos covering both arms and a gold tooth that flashed when he smiled. "You've been telling me Friday for 3 weeks now, Marcus. I'm tired of waiting." "I swear, I'm getting paid on Friday," Marcus said desperately. Rico walked around the tiny apartment. He stopped in front of the bedroom where Zara was sleeping. "That's a cute baby you got there," Rico said quietly. "Be a real shame if something happened to her, because her daddy couldn't pay his debts." Marcus felt rage and fear explode inside his chest. He stepped between Rico and the bedroom door. "Don't you dare talk about my daughter." Rico looked at Marcus with cold eyes. "You have until tomorrow night to bring me my money. All of it, $5,000. "Tomorrow? That's impossible," Marcus said. "I don't get paid until Friday." Rico shrugged. "That's your problem, not mine. Find a way. But if you don't have my money by tomorrow night at 9 o'clock, I'm going to come back here and take something valuable from you." He looked toward the bedroom where Zara slept, and Marcus felt his blood turn to ice. After they left, Marcus collapsed onto the couch, his whole body shaking. What was he going to do? There was no way to get $5,000 in one day. When Gloria came home from the store, she found Marcus sitting in the dark with his head in his hands. "What's wrong, baby?" she asked. Marcus told her everything. Gloria's face grew more worried with every word. "Lord have mercy," she whispered. "What are we going to do?" "I don't know, Mama," Marcus said, and for the first time since Angela died, he started to cry. That night, Marcus couldn't sleep. Around 3 a.m, his phone buzzed. It was a text message from an unknown number. "I heard you need money fast. I can help. Meet me at Joe's Diner tomorrow at noon. Come alone." The next day, Marcus took 2 buses to get to Joe's Diner. A man in a black leather jacket and sunglasses waved from a back booth. "You Marcus?" the man asked. "Yeah. Who are you?" "Sit down. I heard Rico's after you for $5,000. I got a job for you. One job, pays exactly $5,000 cash. You do this job today, and you can pay Rico tonight." "What kind of job?" "Simple delivery job. You take a package from one place to another place." That's it. Marcus knew this meant the package probably had drugs or something illegal in it. If he got caught, he'd go to prison. Zara would grow up without a father. But if he didn't do it, Rico would hurt his baby girl. "Okay," Marcus whispered. "I'll do it." The man slid a piece of paper across the table. "Pick up the package at 3 o'clock at this address. Deliver it to the second address. Someone will give you $5,000. Simple." At 2:30, Marcus kissed Zara goodbye and drove his old Honda through Los Angeles traffic. He found the address in Koreatown at exactly 3 o'clock. It was an old warehouse. Inside, a Korean man in a sharp suit held a black backpack. He tossed it to Marcus. "Take it to the address you were given. Don't stop. Don't open it." Marcus turned to leave, but the man called out, "One more thing. You work for Jin-Woo Park now. The package you're carrying, if you lose it, if you open it, Jin-Woo will find you, and he will kill you and everyone you love." Marcus felt his legs go weak. Jin-Woo Park was the biggest Korean Mafia boss on the West Coast. People who crossed him disappeared. Marcus drove toward downtown L.A., his whole body shaking. He was only 3 blocks from the delivery address when he saw police lights in his rear-view mirror. His heart stopped. The backpack was in his trunk. If the cops searched his car, it was all over. The officer walked to his window. License and registration. Marcus's hand shook as he handed them over. "Your left taillight is out," the officer said. "I'm going to let you off with a warning this time." Marcus couldn't believe it. The officer just walked back to his car and drove away. Marcus delivered the package to an office building. A man with a scar gave him an envelope filled with $100 bills. That night, Marcus paid Rico the $5,000. "We're square now, right?" Marcus asked. Rico counted the money slowly. "Yeah, we're square." He smiled. "How did you get the money?" "I heard you made a delivery for Jin-Woo Park. Once you work for him, you always work for him. You can't just walk away." Marcus went home terrified. Gloria was waiting with fear in her eyes. "A Korean man came here looking for you. He left this." She handed Marcus a business card with a phone number. At 11 o'clock, Marcus called the number. "Mr. Thompson, Jin-Woo Park is pleased, but he has one more job for you. Tomorrow night. After this, you'll be free, and you'll be paid $10,000. "No," Marcus said. "I can't. Your daughter is very beautiful. We saw her today." Marcus felt pure terror. "You stay away from my daughter. Do the job, and we'll never bother you again." The next night, Marcus put Zara in her car seat and drove to the address. When he arrived, Korean men with guns surrounded him. "Jin-Woo Park wants to meet you," one said. "You and your daughter." They forced Marcus into an SUV and drove to an alley. Jin-Woo Park appeared, wearing an expensive suit with eyes that had never shown mercy. "Marcus Thompson, the police raided my buyer's office after your delivery. $20 million worth of heroin. Gone. That's not my fault." Marcus shouted. "I didn't tell anyone." Jin-Woo raised his gun and shot Marcus in the chest. Marcus fell to his knees, blood spreading across his shirt. Jin-Woo pointed the gun at his head to finish him. Then baby Zara's cry pierced the night. Jin-Woo's hand began to shake. That cry reached something deep inside him he thought was dead forever. Because 20 years ago, Jin-Woo Park had a daughter too. Jin-Woo Park stood frozen in that dark alley, his gun still pointed at Marcus's head. But his finger wouldn't pull the trigger. Baby Zara's crying grew louder, more desperate. The sound cut through Jin-Woo like a knife through his chest. His men looked at each other, confused. They had never seen their boss hesitate like this. One of them stepped forward. "Boss, should I finish him?" the man asked. "No," Jin-Woo said quietly. His voice sounded different, softer, almost human. "Bring me the baby." One of his men went to the old Honda and carefully lifted the car seat with baby Zara inside. She was crying so hard her little face was red. Her tiny fists waved in the air. Jin-Woo looked down at her, and something broke inside him. Tears filled his eyes, something that hadn't happened in 20 years. Marcus, bleeding on the ground, watching confusion and terror. Why wasn't Jin-Woo killing him? Why was the most dangerous man in Los Angeles crying while looking at his daughter? "How old is she?" Jin-Woo asked, his voice barely a whisper. 6 months, Marcus said, pressing his hand against the bullet wound in his shoulder. The bullet had hit him in the shoulder, not the chest. He was hurt badly, but he would live if he got help soon. 6 months, Jin-Woo repeated. He reached down and gently touched Zara's tiny hand. The baby grabbed his finger, and Jin-Woo's tears fell freely now. "My daughter was 6 months old when I last held her." Marcus didn't understand what was happening. "Please," he begged, "please don't hurt her. Kill me if you want, but let my daughter live." Jin-Woo looked at Marcus for a long moment. Then he did something no one expected. He put his gun away. "Get him to a hospital." Jin-Woo ordered his men. "Make sure the doctors save his life." "But boss," one man started to protest. "Now!" Jin-Woo shouted, and everyone jumped. "And bring the baby. She's coming with us." "No." Marcus tried to stand up, but fell back down from pain. "You can't take my daughter." Jin-Woo knelt beside Marcus. Up close, Marcus could see that the Mafia boss's eyes were red from crying. There was pain in those eyes, old pain that had never healed. "Listen to me carefully," Jin-Woo said. "Someone betrayed me. Someone told the police about that delivery. It wasn't you. I believe that now. But until I find out who the real traitor is, your daughter is not safe. Whoever betrayed me knows you made that delivery. They might come after her to hurt me." "Then let us go," Marcus pleaded. "Let us disappear. We'll leave Los Angeles. You'll never see us again." Jin-Woo shook his head. "They'll find you. These people have long arms and eyes everywhere. The only way to keep your daughter safe is to keep her with me, where I can protect her." "I don't trust you," Marcus said. "You shot me. You were going to kill me." "I know," Jin-Woo said quietly, "and I'm sorry. I thought you betrayed me. I was wrong." He stood up. "You have 2 choices. Let me protect your daughter until I find the traitor, or watch her die when they come for her. What will it be?" Marcus looked at baby Zara, still crying in her car seat. He thought about Gloria at home, waiting for them. He thought about Angela, his dead wife, and what she would want him to do. "How do I know you won't hurt her?" Marcus asked. "Because," Jin-Woo said, picking up the car seat gently, "she reminds me of my own daughter, and I would die before I let anything happen to her." They took Marcus to a private doctor who worked for Jin-Woo, a man who fixed gunshot wounds without asking questions or calling the police. The doctor cleaned Marcus's wound, gave him medicine for the pain, and bandaged him up. "You're lucky," the doctor said. "The bullet went through clean. No major damage. You'll be sore for a few weeks, but you'll be fine." While Marcus was being treated, Jin-Woo sat in the next room, holding baby Zara. She had finally stopped crying and was looking up at him with big, curious brown eyes. Jin-Woo rocked her gently, humming a song he hadn't sung in 20 years. One of his men, a tough guy named David Kim, watched his boss with shock. "Boss, what are you doing? We should just get rid of them both." their witnesses, their problems. Jin-Woo looked at David with cold eyes. If you ever suggest hurting this baby again, I will kill you myself. Do you understand? David swallowed hard and nodded. He had never heard that tone from his boss before. When Marcus was bandaged and could walk, they brought him to see Zara. Jin-Woo had fed her a bottle and changed her diaper. The baby was now sleeping peacefully in his arms. Marcus's eyes filled with tears, seeing his daughter safe and comfortable. "Thank you," he whispered. "Don't thank me yet," Jin-Woo said. "We need to talk. Really talk. And I need to tell you a story. The story of why a man like me cares about a baby I don't even know." They went to Jin-Woo's home, a huge house in the hills with guards everywhere. Jin-Woo took Marcus to a private room and gave him the baby. Then he poured himself a glass of whiskey and sat down heavily in a chair. 22 years ago, Jin-Woo began, I wasn't a criminal. I was just a regular man. I owned a small restaurant in Seoul, South Korea. I was married to a beautiful woman named Mi-sun. We had a baby daughter named Hannah. Marcus listened, feeding Zara her bottle. My restaurant was successful, Jin-Woo continued. Too successful. A local gang wanted protection money from me. I refused to pay. I thought I was brave. I thought I was standing up for what was right. His voice became bitter. I was a fool. What happened? Marcus asked quietly. Jin-Woo took a long drink of whiskey. They came to my restaurant one night, while Mi-sun and baby Hannah were there. They wanted to teach me a lesson. They started a fire. A big fire. I wasn't there. I was at the market buying food for the next day. Jin-Woo's hands were shaking now. By the time I got back, the whole building was in flames. The firefighters wouldn't let me inside. I screamed and fought, but they held me back. I could hear my wife calling for help. I could hear my baby crying. Tears rolled down Jin-Woo's face. The crying stopped first. Then my wife's scream stopped, and my whole world ended. Marcus felt his own tears falling. I'm so sorry. The gang that started the fire was connected to a bigger organization, Jin-Woo said. The police did nothing because they were paid off. So I did something. I learned who the gang members were. I hunted them down, one by one. I killed them all. Jin-Woo stood up and walked to a window. But killing them wasn't enough. I wanted to destroy the entire organization that protected them. So I joined a rival gang. I was smart, I was ruthless, and I had nothing to lose. I rose through the ranks quickly. Within 5 years, I was running my own operation. Within 10 years, I had destroyed the organization that killed my family. And then, Marcus asked, and then I kept going, Jin-Woo said, because what else was I supposed to do? Go back to running a restaurant? Go back to being a regular man? That man died in the fire with his wife and daughter. All that was left was this. He gestured to himself. A killer, a criminal, a monster. You're not a monster, Marcus said. A monster wouldn't have stopped from killing me. A monster wouldn't be taking care of my daughter. Jin-Woo laughed bitterly. Don't fool yourself. I am a monster. I've killed dozens of people. I've hurt families, destroyed lives. But when I heard your baby crying tonight, he paused. It was like hearing Hannah again. And I couldn't. They sat in silence for a while. Zara had finished her bottle and fallen asleep in Marcus's arms. My daughter would have been 22 years old now, Jin-Woo said softly. She would have gone to college. Maybe she would have gotten married. Maybe I would have been a grandfather. He wiped his eyes. Instead, she was 6 months old forever, frozen in time, just like your daughter is now. I need to call my mother, Marcus said. She'll be worried sick. Jin-Woo nodded and handed him a phone. Tell her you and the baby are safe. Tell her you'll be home in a few days. Don't tell her where you are. Marcus called Gloria. She answered on the first ring, panic in her voice. Marcus. Oh, thank God. Where are you? What happened? I heard sirens and... Mama, I'm okay, Marcus said. Zara's okay. We're safe. But I can't come home for a few days. There's some trouble, but it's going to be fine. I promise. What kind of trouble? Gloria demanded. Marcus Thompson, you tell me right now what's going on. Marcus looked at Jin-Woo, who shook his head slightly. I can't explain right now, Mama. Just trust me. Keep the doors locked. Don't open the door for anyone except the police. I'll call you every day. I love you. He hung up before Gloria could ask more questions. She's going to be so angry with me, Marcus said. She'll be angrier if you're dead. Jin-Woo replied. Now, we need to figure out who betrayed me. Until we do, you and your daughter stay here, under my protection. Over the next 2 days, Marcus and Zara lived in Jin-Woo's huge house. It was the strangest time of Marcus's life. During the day, Jin-Woo was busy running his criminal empire, making phone calls, meeting with dangerous people, planning illegal activities. But in the evening, he would come to Marcus's room and ask to hold baby Zara. Jin-Woo was surprisingly good with the baby. He knew how to warm bottles to the right temperature. He knew how to burp her after feeding. He knew how to rock her to sleep. He even sang to her in Korean, gentle lullabies that his wife used to sing to Hannah. You're really good at this, Marcus said one evening, watching Jin-Woo change Zara's diaper like an expert. I only got 6 months of practice, Jin-Woo said sadly. But you never forget. Your hands remember, even when your heart doesn't want to. Marcus's shoulder was healing well. The doctor came every day to check on him and change his bandages. Marcus spent most of his time with Zara, but sometimes Jin-Woo would take her so Marcus could rest. On the 3rd day, Jin-Woo's men came with news. They had found the traitor. His name is Tommy Chun, David Kim reported. He's been working for us for 3 years. But we found out he's also been feeding information to the FBI. He's the one who told them about the delivery. Jin-Woo's face became hard and cold again. The gentle man who sang to babies disappeared, replaced by the ruthless Mafia boss. Where is he? We have him in the warehouse. Good, Jin-Woo said. He turned to Marcus. Stay here with Zara. I'll be back in a few hours. What are you going to do to him? Marcus asked, even though he already knew the answer. What I do to all traitors. Jin-Woo said simply. Wait, Marcus said. Before you go, thank you for everything. For not killing me. For protecting Zara. For... He struggled to find the words. For being human. Jin-Woo looked at Marcus for a long moment. Don't thank me for being human. Thank your daughter. She reminded me that I used to be one. After Jin-Woo left, Marcus sat alone with Zara, thinking about the strange situation he was in. A few days ago, this man had shot him and tried to kill him. Now, that same man was protecting his daughter like she was his own. The world was more complicated than Marcus had ever imagined. Late that night, Jin-Woo returned. He looked tired and sad. Marcus didn't ask what happened to Tommy Chun. He didn't want to know. It's done, Jin-Woo said quietly. The traitor is dealt with. You and your daughter are safe now. So we can go home? Marcus asked. Jin-Woo nodded slowly. Yes, you can go home. But he didn't sound happy about it. The next morning, Jin-Woo's men drove Marcus and baby Zara back to their small apartment in South Los Angeles. Marcus held Zara close to his chest during the entire ride, still not quite believing this nightmare was really over. When they pulled up to the apartment building, Gloria was sitting on the front steps, waiting. The moment she saw Marcus get out of the black SUV with Zara, she ran to them, crying and shouting, "Oh, my baby! Oh, thank you, Jesus!" Gloria wrapped her arms around Marcus and Zara, squeezing them tight. Then she stepped back and slapped Marcus hard across the face. Don't you ever scare me like that again. 3 days. 3 days with no explanation. I'm sorry, Mama, Marcus said, rubbing his cheek. I'm so sorry. Gloria looked at the black SUV and the Korean men inside. Her eyes narrowed. Who are those people? Marcus, what have you gotten yourself into? It's over now, Mama, Marcus said. I promise. It's all over. The SUV drove away, and Marcus thought that was the end of it. He thought he would never see Jin-Woo Park again. He was wrong. That night, after Gloria went to bed, Marcus sat in the dark living room, holding Zara while she slept. He kept thinking about Jin-Woo, about the pain in his eyes where he talked about his dead daughter, about how gentle he was with Zara, about how a monster could still have a human heart buried deep inside. There was a soft knock at the door. Marcus's heart jumped. He looked through the peephole and saw Jin-Woo standing there alone, wearing regular clothes instead of his expensive suit. Marcus opened the door slowly. "What are you doing here?" "I needed to see her," Jin-Woo said quietly. "One more time, then I'll leave you alone forever. I promise." Marcus should have said no. He should have closed the door and locked it. But something in Jin-Woo's eyes made him step aside and let the man in. Jin-Woo sat on the old, worn couch and looked at sleeping baby Zara in Marcus's arms. "She's beautiful," he whispered. "So peaceful. Do you want to hold her?" Marcus asked. He didn't know why he offered. Maybe because he saw how much it meant to Jin-Woo. Jin-Woo's eyes lit up. He nodded and carefully took Zara from Marcus. The baby stirred but didn't wake up. Jin-Woo rocked her gently, humming that same Korean lullaby. "I've been thinking," Jin-Woo said after a while, "about my life, about the things I've done, the people I've hurt. I can never make up for those things. I can never bring back the lives I've taken. Why are you telling me this?" Marcus asked. "Because you and your daughter, you gave me something I thought was lost forever," Jin-Woo said. "You reminded me what it feels like to care about someone, to want to protect someone. For 3 days, I got to pretend I was a father again. It was the happiest I've been in 20 years. Marcus sat down next to him. "What are you going to do now?" "I don't know," Jin-Woo admitted. "Go back to my empty house. Go back to my criminal empire. Go back to being alone." He looked at Zara's sleeping face. "But at least now I know I'm still capable of feeling something other than anger and hate." They sat in comfortable silence for a few minutes. Then Jin-Woo said something that surprised Marcus. "I want to help you," Jin-Woo said. "Your apartment, your jobs, your life. You deserve better. Let me give you money. Let me help you give your daughter a better future." "I can't take your money," Marcus said. "It comes from drugs and crime. I don't want that for Zara." "I understand," Jin-Woo said. "You're a good father. Better than I ever got the chance to be." He carefully handed Zara back to Marcus. "But if you ever need anything at all, you call me." "Okay." Jin-Woo pulled out a card with a phone number and set it on the coffee table. Then he stood up to leave. "Wait," Marcus said. Jin-Woo turned around. Why don't you change? Your life, you have all that money. You could leave this criminal world behind. Start over. Be the man you were before the fire." Jin-Woo smiled sadly. "It's too late for me. I've gone too far down this road. There's no going back." "It's never too late," Marcus said. "If you can feel love for a baby you just met, if you can cry over a daughter you lost 20 years ago, then you're not too far gone. You're still human, Jin-Woo. You can still choose to be better." Jin-Woo's eyes filled with tears. No one had talked to him like this in years. No one had seen him as anything other than a monster or a boss or a killer. "I wouldn't even know where to start," Jin-Woo whispered. "Start small," Marcus said. "Do one good thing. Then another. Then another. That's how I try to live my life." Jin-Woo nodded slowly and left without another word. Marcus watched through the window as the Korean man got into his car and drove away into the night. 2 weeks passed. Marcus went back to his 2 jobs, working hard to support his family. Gloria took care of Zara during the day. Life returned to normal, or as normal as it could be after everything that happened. But Marcus couldn't stop thinking about Jin-Woo. He wondered if the man had taken his advice. He wondered if someone like Jin-Woo Park could really change. Then one day, Marcus came home from work and found an envelope taped to his door. Inside was a check for $50,000 and a note. "This is clean money from a property I sold, not from drugs or crime. Use it to give Zara a better life." Considered a gift from a man who never got to give his own daughter anything. J.W. Marcus stared at the check in shock. $50,000. He could pay off all his debts. He could move to a better apartment. He could put money away for Zara's future. But should he take it? That night, Marcus called the number on the card Jin-Woo had left. Jin-Woo answered on the second ring. Marcus? Is everything okay? Is Zara safe? We're fine, Marcus said. I got your check. Good. Use it well. I will, Marcus said. But I need to ask you something. Are you really trying to change? Or was that just talk? There was a long pause. I'm trying, Jin-Woo said finally. I've started backing away from some of the worst parts of my business. The drugs, the violence. I'm trying to make my operations more legitimate. It's not easy. A lot of my men don't understand. They think I'm going soft. Are you? Marcus asked. Jin-Woo laughed. Maybe I am. Maybe that's not a bad thing. I want to help you, Marcus said suddenly. The word surprised even him. Help me? How? I don't know, Marcus admitted. But you helped save my daughter's life. You could have killed us both, but you didn't. You chose to be human. Let me help you stay human. What are you suggesting? Jin-Woo asked. Marcus thought for a moment. Meet me for coffee tomorrow. Just to talk. No business, no crime. Just two fathers talking about life. I'm not a father, Jin-Woo said sadly. Not anymore. You were for 3 days, Marcus reminded him. And I saw how good you were at it. How natural. That part of you isn't dead, Jin-Woo. It's just sleeping. The next day, they met at a small coffee shop far from both their neighborhoods. Jin-Woo wore sunglasses and a baseball cap, trying not to be recognized. Marcus brought Zara in her stroller. They talked for 2 hours. Not about crime or danger or the past, but about normal things. About what it was like to be a father. About dreams and hopes and fears. About second chances. My men think I'm losing my edge, Jin-Woo admitted. Last week, I let a guy who stole from me just walk away. Old me would have killed him without thinking. New me, I just couldn't do it. That's not losing your edge, Marcus said. That's finding your humanity. My business partners are getting nervous, Jin-Woo continued. They think I'm becoming weak. Soft. They're starting to question my leadership. Are you in danger? Marcus asked, worried. Jin-Woo shrugged. I'm always in danger. That's the life I chose. But yes, more than usual. Some of my rivals smell blood in the water. They think now is the time to try to take me down. Then maybe you should get out completely, Marcus suggested. Take your money and disappear. Start a new life somewhere far away. It's not that simple, Jin-Woo said. People like me don't get to just walk away. We know too much. We've done too much. The only way most people leave my world is in a body bag. Zara started fussing in her stroller. Without thinking, Jin-Woo reached down and picked her up, bouncing her gently. The baby immediately calmed down. You're so good with her, Marcus said. Muscle memory, Jin-Woo replied, but he was smiling. A real, genuine smile. They started meeting once a week after that. Always at different places. Always careful not to be seen together. Jin-Woo was a dangerous man with dangerous enemies, and Marcus didn't want to put his family at risk. But these meetings became the highlight of both their weeks. Marcus talked about his life, his struggles, his hopes for Zara's future. Jin-Woo talked about his past, his regrets, and his attempts to be a better person. I donated money to a children's hospital this week, Jin-Woo said during one meeting. Anonymously, it felt good. Strange, but good. That's great, Marcus said. See? One good thing at a time. I also shut down one of my drug operations, Jin-Woo continued. My men thought I was crazy. We were making good money. But I kept thinking about kids like Zara, growing up in neighborhoods destroyed by drugs. I couldn't do it anymore. Marcus felt proud of him. You're really changing. I'm trying, Jin-Woo said, but it's getting harder. Some of my own men are starting to turn against me. Last night, someone took a shot at my car. They missed, but the message was clear. You need to get out, Marcus said urgently, before it's too late. I know, Jin-Woo said quietly. I'm working on an exit strategy. Selling off my businesses, converting assets to cash, making plans. In 6 months, I'll disappear. Start over somewhere new. Where will you go? Marcus asked. Jin-Woo smiled mysteriously. Somewhere quiet. Somewhere I can finally rest. But 6 months was too long. 2 weeks later, everything fell apart. Marcus got a call at 2 in the morning. It was David Kim, Jin-Woo's second in command. Marcus, you need to come quick. The boss is in trouble. Big trouble. What happened? Marcus demanded, already getting out of bed. Rival gang. They ambushed him. He's hurt bad. He keeps asking for you. He says he wants to see Zara one more time before... David's voice broke. Before what? Marcus shouted, his heart pounding. Before he dies. Marcus's hands were shaking as he woke up Gloria and explained what was happening. She looked at him like he was crazy. You're going to take that baby to see a dying gangster in the middle of the night? Gloria said, have you lost your mind? He saved our lives, Mama, Marcus said, carefully putting Zara into her car seat. The baby was still half asleep. I have to do this. I owe him. You don't owe him nothing. Gloria protested. He shot you. He almost killed you. And then he didn't... Marcus said, he chose to be human. He chose to protect us. Now he's dying, and he wants to see Zara one more time. How can I say no? Gloria looked at her son for a long moment. Then she sighed and grabbed her coat. I'm coming with you. Someone needs to make sure you both come home safe. David Kim had sent Marcus an address. A safe house on the outskirts of Los Angeles. They drove through empty streets, and Marcus prayed they would get there in time. When they arrived, the house was surrounded by Jin-Woo's men, all looking scared and angry. David met them at the door. Thank God you're here, David said. He's been holding on, waiting for you. The doctor says he doesn't have much time. They followed David inside. Jin-Woo was lying on a bed, his white shirt soaked with blood. There were bandages wrapped around his chest and stomach, but blood was seeping through them. His face was pale, and his breathing was shallow. But when he saw Marcus carrying Zara, his eyes lit up. You came, Jin-Woo whispered, his voice weak. Of course I came, Marcus said, sitting down beside the bed. Zara was awake now, looking around with curious eyes. Can I hold her? Jin-Woo asked. One last time. Marcus carefully placed Zara on the bed next to Jin-Woo. The Korean man wrapped one arm around the baby, holding her close. Tears ran down his face. She's gotten bigger, Jin-Woo said, trying to smile. She's going to be so beautiful when she grows up. What happened? Marcus asked, his own eyes filling with tears. My second in command, Tommy's brother, Jin-Woo said quietly. He wanted revenge for Tommy. He set up an ambush. Shot me 3 times before my men could stop him. The doctor... Marcus started, but Jin-Woo shook his head. The doctor says I'm bleeding inside. Too much damage. Nothing he can do without a hospital, and I can't go to a hospital. Police will be there. FBI. I'd rather die free than die in handcuffs. Gloria, standing in the doorway, wiped her eyes. Even she, who'd been so angry at this man, felt her heart breaking at the sight. I'm scared, Jin-Woo admitted, looking at Marcus. I've killed so many people. I've done so many terrible things. What if there's a hell? What if I have to face all those people I hurt? Then you tell them you're sorry, Marcus said, holding Jin-Woo's free hand. You tell them that at the end, you tried to change. You tried to be better. But was I... Jin-Woo asked, was I really better? I only stopped because of her. He looked down at Zara, who was now playing with the buttons on his bloody shirt, completely unaware of what was happening. One baby's cry, and suddenly I remembered I used to be human. But without her, would I have ever changed? It doesn't matter why you change, Marcus said. What matters is that you did. You donated to hospitals. You shut down drug operations. You were trying to get out, trying to be good. That counts for something. Jin-Woo smiled weakly. You're a good man, Marcus Thompson. Your daughter is lucky to have you. He coughed, and blood appeared at the corner of his mouth. I wish I could have watched her grow up, watched her take her first steps, heard her first words, been there for her first day of school. You can, Marcus said desperately. Fight. Stay alive. The doctor can. No. Jin-Woo interrupted gently. It's okay. I'm tired, Marcus. I've been tired for 20 years. Maybe it's time to rest. Maybe it's time to see my wife and daughter again. If heaven exists, maybe they're waiting for me. He looked down at baby Zara one more time. She grabbed his finger and smiled at him. A big, beautiful baby smile. Jin-Woo's whole face softened with love and peace. Thank you, he whispered to the baby. Thank you for reminding me what love feels like. Thank you for giving me a few weeks of being a father again. Thank you for saving my soul. He looked at Marcus. Promise me something. Anything, Marcus said, tears streaming down his face. Promise me you'll tell her about me someday, Jin-Woo said. Not the bad things. Just tell her that there was once a man who was lost in darkness, and her cry brought him back to the light. Tell her she saved someone without even knowing it. Tell her she made a difference. I promise, Marcus said. And promise me you'll give her a good life. Jin-Woo continued. Better than I had. Better than you had. Promise me she'll be happy. I promise, Marcus repeated, his voice breaking. Jin-Woo smiled. Then he did something that surprised everyone. He started singing. That Korean lullaby he used to sing to his own daughter, the one he had sung to Zara during those 3 days. His voice was weak and broken, but the love in it was clear. Marcus didn't understand the words, but he understood the meaning. It was a father's love, pure and eternal, flowing from Jin-Woo to Zara and somehow, impossibly, to the daughter he had lost so many years ago. As Jin-Woo sang, his voice got quieter and quieter. His eyes closed slowly. The hand holding Zara went limp. And just like that, Jin-Woo Park was gone. The room was silent, except for Zara's happy babbling. She didn't understand that the man who had held her so gently was gone. She just knew she had been loved. David Kim came forward and gently took Zara from the bed. He handed her to Marcus, and Marcus saw that even this tough gangster had tears in his eyes. He was a good boss, David said quietly. Hard but fair. And at the end, he was trying to be a good man. He was a good man, Marcus corrected. He just forgot for a while. But he remembered. 3 days later, Marcus attended Jin-Woo's funeral. It was a small ceremony, just as close as men, and, surprisingly, Marcus, Gloria, and baby Zara. Jin-Woo had left instructions that he wanted to be buried next to his wife and daughter in Korea. So this was just a memorial service before his body was sent home. David Kim approached Marcus after the service. The boss left you something, David said, handing Marcus an envelope. His will. He wanted you to have it. Inside the envelope was a letter and a bank account number. The letter read, Dear Marcus, if you're reading this, I'm gone. I'm sorry I couldn't stay longer. I'm sorry I couldn't watch Zara grow up. But I'm grateful for the time I had. The account number below contains $5 million. It's clean money. I've been converting all my illegal assets into legitimate businesses over the past few months. This money is from the sale of several properties and businesses. No drugs, no violence, no crime. Just honest money from honest sales. Use it to give Zara the life she deserves. Send her to good schools. Give her opportunities. Let her be anything she wants to be. And please, tell her about me someday. Tell her that her cries saved a man's soul. I spent 20 years as a monster. But for 3 days, because of your daughter, I got to be a father again. That was the greatest gift anyone could have given me. Thank you, Marcus, for everything. Your friend, Jin-Woo Park. P.S. I've also arranged for all your debts to be paid off, including the money you owed to Rico Martinez. You're free now. Use that freedom wisely. Marcus sat down heavily on a bench, the letter shaking in his hands. $5 million. His debts paid off. His daughter's future secured. He really did change, Gloria said softly, reading the letter over Marcus's shoulder. Lord have mercy, he really did change. A single cry, Marcus whispered, looking at Zara sleeping peacefully in her stroller. One baby's cry changed everything. 10 years later, Marcus stood in the kitchen of his beautiful home, making breakfast for his daughter. Zara was now 10 years old, smart and beautiful and full of life. She went to the best private school in Los Angeles. She took piano lessons and dance classes. She had friends and hobbies and dreams of becoming a doctor someday. Marcus had used Jin-Woo's money wisely. He had invested it, grown it, and used it to build a good life for his family. He had even started a foundation that helped families in South Los Angeles. Families like his used to be, struggling and drowning in debt. The foundation was called the Hannah Foundation, named after Jin-Woo's daughter. Gloria lived with him in a nice guest house in the backyard. She spent her days spoiling her granddaughter and volunteering at the local church. "Daddy," Zara called from the living room, "can you help me with my homework? We're supposed to write about someone who made a difference in our lives." Marcus smiled. He had been waiting for this moment. Zara was finally old enough to understand. "Actually, sweetheart," Marcus said, sitting down next to her, "I want to tell you a story. A true story about a man who made a difference in your life, even though you were too young to remember him." "Who?" Zara asked, her eyes wide with curiosity. "His name was Jin-Woo Park," Marcus began. "And when you were just 6 months old, your cries saved his soul." Marcus told her everything. About the debt, the delivery, the ambush in the alley, about Jin-Woo's lost family, and how hearing Zara cry reminded him of his own daughter. About the 3 days they spent together, and how Jin-Woo changed from a criminal into a man trying to be good. About his death and his final gift. Zara listened with tears in her eyes. "I saved him? Really, really," Marcus said. "You reminded him what love felt like. You gave him hope. You made him want to be better. All by just being yourself, an innocent baby who needed protection." "I wish I could have known him," Zara said softly. "In a way you did," Marcus said. "He held you. He sang to you. He loved you like you were his own daughter. And everything we have, this house, your school, your opportunities, it all came from him wanting to give you the life his own daughter never got to have." Zara was quiet for a moment. Then she picked up her pencil and started writing her homework assignment. Marcus looked over his shoulder and read. "The person who made the biggest difference in my life was a man named Jin-Woo Park. I never really knew him, but he knew me, and somehow, just by being born, just by crying when I was scared, I helped save him. My daddy says that everyone has light inside them, even people who have done dark things. Sometimes all it takes is one moment, one sound, one baby's cry to remind them of that light. Jin-Woo Park found his light again because of me, and because of him, I get to live a wonderful life. I hope that when I grow up, I can make a difference in someone's life the way I made a difference in his." That's what he would have wanted. Marcus hugged his daughter tight, tears running down his face. "That's perfect, baby. That's absolutely perfect." That night, after Zara went to bed, Marcus stood on his balcony looking at the stars. He thought about Jin-Woo, hoped he was at peace, hoped he had finally found his way back to his wife and daughter. "Thank you," Marcus whispered to the night sky. "Thank you for choosing to be human. Thank you for protecting my daughter. Thank you for giving us this life." Somewhere in the darkness, Marcus liked to imagine Jin-Woo was smiling, because in the end, one single cry had changed everything. It had saved a family from poverty. It had saved a man from his own darkness. It had proven that redemption is always possible, that change is always within reach, and that sometimes the smallest voice can have the biggest impact. A baby's cry had changed the fate of a black family and a Korean Mafia boss. And in doing so, it had changed the world, at least for those who were touched by its power. The end. Thank you for watching this incredible story. If it touched your heart, please subscribe to this channel to support our growth. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this message of hope and redemption. What did you think of Jin-Woo's transformation? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Remember, it's never too late to change, and sometimes the smallest act of love can save a soul. See you in the next story.